What's up, everybody?
I'm Matt.
I'm Zach, and we're MZ Car Guys. So, we were listening to a podcast by Matt Farah about who does the Smoking Tire. You also may know him as he does the one take.
Yeah, one take. He's famous for the one takes.
Yeah, the one takes.
Right. He puts 4 up every week.
It's fantastic. So we're listening to a podcast of his, and somebody brought up a very interesting question, and that is, of all these cars that people love driving and stuff like that, what cars would be just as much fun to drive, even if they had, what was it?
If you took away a quarter to a half the power.
Yeah, a quarter to half of the power.
It's a really good question. I mean, because cars are getting so ridiculous, so over the top now. I mean, you've got the Demon, you've got the
Demon at 800 horsepower.
You know, you've got McLaren, which uses 4 different versions, 4 different tunes of the same engine to get 4 different horsepower ratings and 4 different price points, and so on.
Yeah, it's insane because, I mean, Matt and I are old enough to remember when 200 horsepower was insane.
V8.
400 was
Right. The
just
moon.
madness, just
Yeah.
absolute freaking madness. And now you have, 600 horsepower is normal. I mean, that's so. Can you take these cars, some of them, and take away some of their power? Would they be just as much fun? I think the very first one that we got to talk about is probably the GT4. Porsche GT4.
The Cayman.
Yeah, the Cayman GT4. I think you could take away probably a good 50% of its horsepower, and you'd still have a really good, fun handling car. What do you say?
Wouldn't a Cayman GT4 with half of its horsepower, wouldn't that be a first-gen Boxster?
Basically.
Right?
I mean, so that's. I guess that was kind of an easy one.
Well, no, but it's something to think about, right? Is a first-gen Boxster still a fun car, or has things progressed far enough that it's just not anymore? It's just has the table been set so high now, that it isn't? Well, I would argue that it is. It's still a great car.
I think
you don't need more than
I
two
think
seats.
fun to drive it's a lot like comedy. It's basically just timeless. I mean, you
Yeah.
can go back to the turn of the century, like a 1920s Stutz Bearcat. Still a fun car to drive.
Right, I believe Jay Leno when he said it was a fun car to drive, and he looked like he was having fun doing it.
Yes.
Right,
Well,
okay.
Jay Leno always looks like he's having fun
True.
and so forth. It's just
So, but we got to get past the sort of the elephant in the room here, which is the Hellcat. Right.
Yeah.
And I would argue more than any other car, and Matt basically said the same thing, that the Hellcat obviously would be as much fun to drive with half the power. I mean, it would basically be, with half the power, it would be an RT essentially.
well,
pretty
and
close.
that's
Which is still a V8. You can get it with a stick shift. It's still a coupe. It's a muscly looking car.
which is true, but the other part of that equation is, and it's the same thing. Please don't get me wrong. I'm a Southerner. I love the old muscle cars, the GTOs and all of that, and the Chevelles and stuff. But they were really horrible handling cars.
They were.
I have driven a few of them, and the problem that I always found with them was they weren't fun to drive. Yes, you had a ton of power and so forth, and you had, just this off-the-line acceleration and just throws you back in the seat and everything like that.
Right, but once you turn the steering wheel, everything
But as
goes
soon
down.
as you saw everything,
Yeah.
As soon as you needed to turn the steering more than this, it was just an absolute nightmare because the thing just didn't want to handle. And there's a reason why those old cars just tore through all of their steering components, because you had this huge amount of weight and you know, it didn't handle very well. It wasn't very good. And I put the Challenger in that category.
The modern equivalent.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
think
basically it's the
compared to other
modern day
cars in its
equivalent
class,
because
it doesn't handle it well enough.
yeah, well, I mean, I refer back to the old new Top Gear episode where they drove the Corvette ZR1,
the Cadillac CTSV
yeah, the Cadillac
wagon.
CTSV,
And the Challenger,
and
the brand new at the time.
and the brand new at the time Challenger SRT8. And one of the things I believe Richard said was he hated how it handled. And I think the only thing you have going for it is power. And so the thing that makes the Hellcat and even the Demon just so much fun is the fact that it's just insane amounts of power. And I think if you took half of that away, and I'm gonna say this, and I don't want you to be upset, I think if you took half of that away, you would have essentially what the basics frame of that vehicle is, and that is an early 2000s E-Class Mercedes. Not even the AMG.
I kind of hate you right now.
I know.
Okay,
I know, because
so-
you love that Challenger.
I don't know if I could love one enough to own it, but I love looking at them.
Yeah.
The presence of that car is just amazing, and especially when it has to have a V8 under the hood.
Yeah.
So,
Which, by the way, I have to say, if you follow us on Instagram, all of the cars of Walnut Creek, all of the Challengers that you see,
well,
yeah.
most of the photos are mine, but
not
yeah,
me, not me. I'm some of the other stuff.
I'm trying to be a bit better about that, about diversifying without
Yeah.
being banal.
My question would be, I've got two that I'd like to bring up.
Okay.
One of which would be the Miata.
A Miata with less power. What?
Would it be just
that
as
your-
much fun to
So that
drive?
your foot's in it the entire time?
Basically, yeah.
So what would that be? Like the modern equivalent of like an MG with better reliability, basically?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Right?
yeah. I mean, you'd have
MG Triumph, whatever that whole
yeah, because you'd have
genre.
the top down, and you could really, just kind of like toss it around and stuff like that, and just bring the daylights out of it. And I think you'd still be good.
Okay. I wasn't gonna say so, but okay. Okay. So, well then you get into things like, what about some of the hypercars? What happens when you take power out of a hypercar? We'll make it the whole trifecta at this point. The trifecta is still arguably whatever Koenigsegg is making. Well, the four would be whatever Koenigsegg's making now. The LaFerrari, the P1, and the Porsche 918.
I'm sure they'd be.
Because it would still be a
Just-
legit supercar.
Yeah, and I argue that cars that
No, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be a supercar.
I argue cars like the Koenigsegg, like
Which Koenigsegg?
yes,
Fair enough.
like
I go Regera.
even the McLaren P1 or any McLaren or anything like that. Oh no, let's just say the McLaren P1. Anything with more than say 700 horsepower. I don't think those cars outside of a racetrack are fun to drive.
I can see the point of that.
and,
yeah.
and to me, fun to drive means you can do it on a daily basis, and you want to try to do it on a daily basis.
Like an NSX.
Yeah, I mean, like
Anyway,
Sparky, my EV Fit. It's an electric little Fit. I mean, it's a 2013. I mean, it's got low rolling resistance tires. I go into a corner more than 10% of G, and the tires want to squeal. But that little thing is a lot of fun to drive. Just because of how the power delivery is.
Torque will always make a car more fun to drive.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is why I would put the 918 above something like a McLaren P1.
But
Or
what
more
I'm,
like
but what
McLaren
I'm,
700,
but what I'm saying
but-
is that I think any of those cars, if you take half of their horsepower away,
Become even more fun.
they become more fun.
Okay.
I mean,
Right.
I think there's
In
a
the
real
real world.
argument to be had for that.
Okay.
Conversely, I think if you were to take a car like, say, the Lamborghini Aventador, which I love, I think if you took half the horsepower away, it wouldn't be fun to drive.
No.
I think it would be an
No.
apps because it's so heavy.
Well, not only that, but the looks demand that kind of power.
Yeah, you
That-
end
that-
up with
you end up with-
a
with-
GT86.
I'd go worse than that. I'd say you end up with a complete imposter. You end up with whatever an 80s sports car. You end up with a Lamborghini Countach. That's what you end up with. All looks and no go.
Well, no. The Lamborghini Countach did go. It was just a nightmare to actually try to live with.
But
But
that kind of, when the
I-
styling way oversold. the
You
power.
have a non-turbo Hyundai Veloster.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
Yeah, you do.
you know.
Yeah, a base Veloster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
With an automatic slush box.
wow, you're
Piling it on.
you're not pulling any punches there, Matt.
No.
You're just kind of going for the gusto.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. Let's. I'm gonna throw one out there, and I'm gonna say the new Honda Civic Si,
So you go.
because you have
Call it-
arguably one of the best shifters ever created. I mean,
Certainly
one
on
of
a
the
car
best.
under 30,000, absolutely. Or on a car under 50,000. Yeah, absolutely.
I've heard more, but
Okay.
but yeah, but I mean, but you have a car that does handle fairly well.
Right.
Limited slip differential.
Yep.
You have all of that stuff.
So okay, so give it same weight. It is 3,100 pounds, I believe.
hmm
Call it 105 horsepower just for a nice easy number.
Yeah.
Okay, so quick thoughts. So my very first car was 80 horsepower at 2,000 pounds. Okay.
I don't
Okay.
think it would be as
It's-
quick.
It would
Not even close.
It would basically be a K car at that point,
It would be.
a heavier K car,
It would be.
more or less.
But the problem, the problem would be, of course, the weight with it and stuff like that. But I think the chassis tuning would, I
Yeah.
think it would overcome it.
Yeah.
I think it would do it very, very well.
Okay, I
So-
think that's a really creative answer, and I like it. I mean,
Yeah.
you'd be at Redline all the time. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, especially not in a Honda.
No,
I
hell
mean,
no.
even with the new turbocharged engine, it does like the rev a little bit
A little bit.
and stuff.
Okay, yeah, because basically with a Civic Si with 100 horse, essentially you'd pull the turbo and then detune it, so the thing would be bulletproof
Oh yeah,
to get to 100
yeah.
horsepower.
Well, you'd have
because it means 130
well-
already in the Fit,
the power to weight ratio of a stick shift Fit.
which is a lot of fun to drive.
Yeah, which is the stick shift Fit is a ton of fun to drive.
Dude,
Not
you-
very fast, but
You can do so much
Bonkers
in
to drive.
second and third as the second and third gear car all day.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It needs a little bit of shifter action, which the SI gives it.
Yeah, take
Okay.
the same shifter out of that
Okay.
and put it into there. So,
Okay.
all right.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah, I think we made a lot of good progress there, Matt. What do you think?
I think there are a lot of fun cars out there to drive. We need
Yeah,
to go find some.
absolutely. So,
We'll see you next time.
bye guys.